Well, as we record this, Josh, today is the day that we find out who's going to the Super Bowl. Is that what you wanted to start with today?
Well, Fu, yes, we do have the championship games today. We got the Rams against the Niners for the third time, actually, this year. They have yet to win. So it is...
we'll see what happens.
The Rams are actually an underdog in their own stadium, which is kind of pretty hilarious. But as I had said last week, that they are the first team to be playing in the Super Bowl and potentially playing for a home game next week, because they are hosting the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah.
At SoFi Stadium. So I'm really rooting for the Rams. I mean, I would, got to root for the home team, Fu. Got to root for the home team. I can't be a dick. But I
mean, you could. You have.
Yeah. I mean, I have, but I'll give it to him, Fu. Cooper Kupp's been doing good for me all year, so it's all about the Coop. And then we got the Bengals playing the Chiefs.
Wasn't that
the game is actually
wasn't that a racetrack in Mario Kart?
Bengals versus Chiefs?
No, the Cooper Kupp.
Oh, the Cooper Kupp.
Yeah,
the Cooper Kupp is, Fu.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cooper Kupp.
I think
is.
so. Yeah.
No, the Bengals are playing the Chiefs right now. They are down 7-0. It's in the first quarter, but I think the Chiefs are going to win. I'm rooting for the Bengals because I actually like when the underdogs actually do, win.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty dope. So, yeah, Fu, we'll see about that. And, since we're on the subject of football, that's what these next two stories are really going to be about. So the big story is yesterday, Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington of ESPN reported that Tom Brady is officially retiring after 22 seasons of playing in the NFL.
Or is he?
Or is he, Fu? That is the question we are all asking right now. Because after they reported it, all these other players were reaching out to him. There was a bunch of different posting up all of his credentials, 7-time Super Bowl winner. Right. Pretty much this dude's a first-round Hall of Famer without question. And that's what everyone was talking about. Everyone's congratulating him. Well, then a few hours later in the day, his dad, Tom Sr., reported that Tom has yet to make a decision. He is not retired yet. He is still mulling and contemplating this potential decision. Which... Come on, bro. You're gonna retire. I am, in my opinion, I think he's gonna retire. He alluded to that this is a decision between him and his family. And I think Giselle and his kids really want him home now. Because it's like, all right, bro, like, what more do you have to prove?
Yeah, you're the best football player in the history of mankind. Can we just get past that and spend some time with your goddamn kids?
Right. It's like, bro, I'm going to be in high school. I want to at least say, hey, I want to be able to chill with my dad,
right.
Do shit. So, yeah, man, I have a feeling he's ready to pack it up. And it's going to be sad to, finally not have a Tom Brady. But also, it's going to be so great to finally not have a Tom Brady.
Well, I don't know. He's, despite the fact that he doesn't belong to a team that I'm a fan of, but I am a fan of whenever he pulls shit out of his ass and makes it look so good. Like it's good football.
It's like, dude,
it's good football.
Yeah. It's like when you're down, when you see that the Patriots are down and Tom Brady has the ball with two minutes left, you're just like, I think he can do it. Even when it's two touchdowns down.
You can't say that about anybody else.
Yeah.
Nobody can. You don't have that kind of confidence.
Yeah, it's just like, I think he could do it. I don't know why. For Tom Brady, I believe in you, Tom. Yeah. I believe in you for some fucking weird reason.
I did it last week when he was up against my Rams, and I'm like, he's gonna fucking beat the Rams, dude.
He almost did. He almost did it. That's the fucking crazy part, is that, dude, this guy never fell off. He never fell off. He had one of the most, nasty and like dangerous injuries you can have as a football player. When that Chiefs player, I think it was like in 2006 or 7, when he came and he hit him on the knee and he was out. Like, that was the one and only time he was out with a long injury like that.
Yeah.
And no one knew if he was going to come back. And dude, that dude came back, and he's just like, oh, okay, I'm going to win 4 more Super Bowls, go to 10 more Pro Bowls. I'm going to hold every single touchdown passing yard record. Like, this dude cemented himself as the GOAT, and we should just leave it at that, especially in football. Like, I mean, fuck, even in maybe if you even want to go into just all sports as a GOAT, considering the amount of awards he has.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though some European footballers will kind of disagree, such
Why
as
is that?
Ronaldo and Messi with the amount of awards and accolades they have.
Right.
But yeah, no, there's no one like Tom Brady, man. And yeah, dude, it's the Bucks are going to be screwed for sure next year. So don't expect them to look good.
Assuming he retires.
Assuming he retires, yes. And if he retires, more than likely that means Gronk will be officially
because he only came
too.
back for his buddy Tom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no incentive for him to stay on the team, or stay playing anyway. Especially the amount of punishment that dude fucking gets on a weekly basis when he plays.
Yeah, he's kind of a big target.
Dude, whenever if you see like those rib shots he takes sometimes, it's just like, oh, how do you get up? Like, that guy just bounces back like nothing, and he's still able to run. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
You think if he really retires, he'll go back to the WWE?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that dude's. It's amazing. That guy seems so dumb, but he's so smart with his money.
Yeah,
he's so smart with his money.
Yeah, at least the circle of people kind of guiding him to his next business venture, they know what they're telling him.
Yeah,
he's
got
good.
some great financial advisors, Fu, and great publicist.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Well, Fu, let's move on to some other NFL news, and this is concerning the greatest clothing line in all of the NFL.
Oh, the Raiders.
The Las Vegas Raiders, Fu. Yeah, the Raiders. See, I have to open with that, Fu. Otherwise, you just won't know.
Yeah, I won't know what you're talking about. I've said it for years. The Raiders are the best clothing line that just so happens to have a football team.
I mean, Fu, you know, you got to advertise somehow, Fu, and what better way than to have an NFL
It all
team?
started with NWA.
I did.
You know?
It really did. Thank you, Ice Cube.
With Ice Cube, yeah.
Dr. Dre for that. Well, Fu, they've officially announced the hiring of their next GM and next head coach. So the GM that they decided to go with is none other than Dave Ziegler. I have no idea who that is, by the way. I'm just acting like I do.
Dick!
Dave Ziegler is actually an ex-New England Patriots executive. So there's a theme here, Foos. There's a theme here. Because then for head coach, the Raiders have now decided to hire none other than the offensive coordinator for get this, Foo, you never guess. You never guess.
Who?
The New England Patriots.
What?
Josh McDaniels.
Wow.
Josh McDaniels. Yes, Foo. He will
that?
now be the next Raiders head coach.
What's his name?
Josh McDaniels, Foo.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he was a longtime Patriots head coach, Patriots offensive coordinator. His claim to fame was during the 2017 18-0 Patriots season. He led them to all season high records for an offense. He's a great offensive coordinator. He's done wonders specifically with Tom Brady, and then even this last year with Mac Jones, no one thought that the Patriots were going to be relevant, and fuck, they still made the playoffs somehow, some way, with a rookie QB. So it can kind of go one of two ways, Fu. This can be a blessing or a curse for the Raiders, because the last head coaching stint that Josh McDaniels had was with the Denver Broncos in the 2009-2010 season, and it only really lasted 2 seasons. Actually, it only lasted 1.5 seasons, because he was actually fired halfway through the next season after that. So a lot of people said that because he was one of the youngest coaches to be hired at the time. I believe he was like 35.
Yeah.
Or 30 as one of the youngest head coaches, and they said that he was trying to emulate Bill Belichick too much. Okay. So hopefully this time he learns. Don't do everything Bill does, guys. Come on now. only Belichick can get away with doing the shit Belichick does.
Right.
So
there's little nuances that only Belichick can pull off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't copy that dude, man. That dude is just, he is who he is. So we'll see if this works out for the Raiders, Foo, and what it means for Derek Carr. In my opinion, I think Carr is probably going to be out, and they may try to get Aaron Rodgers, Foo.
Oh, he's
Aaron
not
Rodgers
retiring.
Is going to be a free agent next year.
That's right. He's just free.
Yeah. Yep, Foos. His immunized ass will go wherever he wants now, Foo.
What a stupid
Choose his
son of a
next
bitch.
team.
All right.
Yeah, Foo.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Foo, and this one I want to get your opinion on. We're going on the MLB side now. And the reason why is that this last week, they finally announced the votes for the upcoming MLB Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And two notable names were still on their last leg on the list for eligibility for the Hall of Fame. None other than Barry Bonds and Roger the Rocket Clemens. They're pretty much on their last year of eligibility. And for those of you that don't know, you really only have 10 years. It used to be 15 years, but now it's 10 years to make it into the Hall of Fame. And then after that, that's it. You can no longer be eligible or qualified.
Why is there a time limit like that? Is there a reasoning for that?
So before it was 15, and that was only because it depended on the amount of times that because you have to be retired for, I believe, 3 or 4 years before you qualify to enter. And then once you qualify to enter, you only have about a 15-year time span to still remain eligible.
All right.
So they do that for like legacy guys that maybe have passed away or, are no longer playing. They give them that amount of time. So it originally was 15. But then a couple of years ago, a douchebag sports radio broadcaster, Dan Lebitard, who's no longer with the ESPN,
right.
he was so pissed off about the way that the Hall of Fame baseball voters vote that he decided in protest he was going to give his vote away to a fan. So essentially he did. He pretty much put up a poll and he's just like, I'm going to give my vote away. Let's see who the fans want to vote. So the MLB didn't like that. At least the Writers Association did not like that.
Yeah.
And so then they made a rule change that they are now going to change it from 15 to 10 years. And they limited the number of votes that it takes to get in. That does not help matters because you still got these old head writers that are caught in the old times and old ways. So it makes it hard for a lot of guys to get in. Now, fast forward here, year 10 for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. Last year to get in, nope. Writers said, nope, they're not getting in. We're not letting them into the MLB Hall of Fame. Instead, they officially announced that David Ortiz, Big Papi Foo, Big Papi is coming to the MLB Hall of Fame, baby. He likes baseball very much. Baseball has been very, very good to me.
He deserves it. The guy was a powerhouse.
He was a powerhouse, dude, and he's actually one of the first designated hitters to make it into the MLB Hall of Fame. Like, dude he had to play first base occasionally.
Yeah.
But he was mostly just the DH almost half the time. And the controversy here is that, the reason why Roger Clemens, or people say that the reason why Roger Clemens and Bonds were not inducted is because of their steroid allegations, which, if anyone that's seen Barry Bonds, let's look up a picture of Barry Bonds as a pirate and then look up a picture as Barry Bonds as a giant and tell me the difference.
Yeah, about 100 pounds.
In the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alone. Yeah.
Fucking
in your
man.
bra.
Fucking cava son. Jesus Christ. They had a freaking special order his hat whenever they had games in San Francisco.
Yeah, he was a scrawny guy, and then he just can you put on that much weight in just a matter of a year or two?
It's like, you know what, dude? It's like the cartoon. It's like in Simpsons when Ken Griffey Jr. was drinking that brain tonic and he starts having fucking gigantism.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what happened with Barry Bonds, except it stayed in the head.
Right.
It didn't go and then slowly migrated down south.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's huge, dude. It's a huge difference.
That's a different person.
Melon,
yeah, we got a side by side. It's a completely different person.
It's a summer melon on his fucking body, bro.
Yeah. It's Chris Rock and fucking and Terry Crews right next to each other right here on this picture.
And then you have Roger Clemens, who had somewhat of a similar transformation. And a lot of people argue is that Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, for the first half of their careers, had first-round Hall of Fame careers. Barry Bonds, when he was with the Pirates, could have, like, if he retired with the Pirates, boom, first-round Hall of Fame. Right there, right then and there. Same thing with Roger Clemens when he played with the Red Sox. He was another first-ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are speculating that it's not only the steroid allegations, because none other than David Ortiz also had steroid allegations in 2012. But he got in, without hesitation, first round.
Yeah.
First time Hall of Fame. Boom, he's automatic in. So what's the differences here, Fu? What do you think is the reason that Barry Bonds and Clemens did not get in? And what do you think? Do you think that they should have got in?
I think that they shouldn't have been discounted so quickly. Now, to answer your first question, I don't know. I don't know what the differences are. You tell me.
Well, in my opinion, I think the differences are in how each of them reacted with the media.
Okay.
Because Bonds was notorious for being a dickhead to the media and to reporters.
Right.
Same thing with Clemens. They were not well liked by the media and the reporters. And who's voting here? The media and the reporters, who in turn were skirned. So I feel like this is the writers group, the MLB writers, that vote here. I think this is them getting back at Bonds and Clemens for all of those years. And what better excuse than steroids allegations?
Remind me, did Mark McGwire ever get into the Hall of Fame?
Who?
Mark McGwire.
McGwire, I do not believe he did.
For that reason, right? But
for that reason, yeah.
But he was kind of nice to the press and the media. He was not a dick. But he actually admitted doing it. Whereas Bonds and Clemens, it's still like not 100% admitted. They never admitted it. Never. They have not. But there's still allegations out there, and there's still kind of some evidence to say to it. So can we just ask Jose Canseco? Because that guy was just spilling the beans on everybody.
Oh, dude, Jose Canseco's not in the Hall of Fame, and for that, another reason there is that he spilled the beans on himself and everyone, and burned every bridge possible. Regarding that whole steroid scandal. So, same thing with Sammy Sosa. He won't be getting in. So it kind of begs the question. It's like, dude, these guys still had to play. Like, they still had to put up these numbers. Like, you can't discount these numbers, even though there was steroids. They were just getting caught. It was still happening, around the league. Other people were still doing it. Like, it wasn't just them.
There was no authority that was policing this regularly to tell who and who wasn't at that time.
They were circumventing. Yeah, they were circumventing the rules. Finding loopholes by doing this. But at the same time, it's like, bro, they were still putting up numbers. They were still playing the game.
They were making baseball exciting at a time where it was dwindling quite a bit.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about the mid '90s. Where McGwire and Sosa were going at it. Barry Bonds in the late '90s, early 2000s was doing his thing. Same with Clemens, and then fucking Papi in the early 2000s too. So it's just, I don't know, man. I think that it was it's all or nothing, if you ask me. And while they were being dicks to the media, I think that they should at least be a part of the conversation. It sucks. It just sucks because, like you said too, they were putting up numbers prior to them bulking up the way they did. And if we stop the clock right there, I mean, would that make them eligible?
Yeah, exactly. So that's like, damn. It's like if you had, what is your criteria for voting them in? So I think that the voters, the Hall of Fame Voting Association, and members we need new blood, man, or start cycling some people out because I think a lot of bias and personal bias is still prevalent, as we've seen here with some of the writers, and them not voting in Clemens and Bonds. It's like, okay, you made them wait. At least let them. You made them wait. That should be punishment enough. To completely block out these Hall of Famers. Like, they're still going to be mentioned in history. Like, you can't take away their records. Like, they're still going to be known. And the fact that you guys are keeping them out of there, as a way of spite or using this petty method,
right?
Yeah, it doesn't make the MLB look any better.
And I think that's what really pisses people off about just Hall of Fames in general. I mean, we get a lot of this in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame every year because there's a bunch of old heads in there. I mean, if you go to any kind of like awards ceremony where the Grammys have been laughed at for how long now? For decades. The Oscars are becoming that. The Tonys, nobody even watches the Tonys, but we can probably find some bullshit happening there. So all these kinds of awards ceremonies things, I think the only one that actually holds water these days is the ESPYs.
Yeah, because that's the only one that really mixes all worlds. You have the sports world and the entertainment world kind of coming together. Yeah, man, and this is definitely a big hit on the MLB. And like you said, dude, the MLB gets exciting when we have runs, when we have these kind of high stakes games. So yeah, another example as the MLB not wanting to progress fast enough, still fucking waiting behind.
I mean, we're getting it's just really slow. It's a slow drip of progressiveness happening in the MLB. Hopefully that they take some leaps and bounds in the next few years. But we got replay now, which is nice. It was a big leap to get to.
They are actually experimenting in the minor leagues with robot umpires.
Yeah.
So depending on how that goes, if it is successful, which I think we reported on it a few years back when they were first starting to do it. The success rate was fairly high. I think it was like 80% or something like that. We'll have to look it up again. But yeah, we'll probably get more data if we ever get a season this year. We're still on a lockout, and there hasn't been any word on when they're going to be speaking again. Yeah. I know they last spoke, and it did not look good. The players walked out, and so it's TBD on when we'll have some baseball food.
I sure hope that if they go with the robot umpires, that they still put shoes on them, because there's nothing like kicking sand on an umpire's shoes, man. And then what if he throws you out of the game? Is he gonna just chuck you out of the fucking stadium? Like,
Foo, I want to see an arm just come out of like a compartment out of nowhere, and they just have a thumb and go, man, you're out of here.
It says Acme on it. Yeah. I think that if you're out of here, they should fling you like Team Rocket is blasting off again style.
Team Rocket's going away, blasting away again.
And then bing, at the end, just, that they went off into the distance, and somehow they always survive, but.
They always survive, Foo. That doesn't make sense to me either. I think it's those suits, Foos. It's those uniforms. They got to have some type of special padding or something.
Right.
All right, Foo. That's it for sports.
That's going to do it. All right, man. Well, everybody stick around for music highlights. The International Moil Association introduces Circumvision, the one and only TV channel created for moils by moils. Tune in for a mitzvah of terrific original programming coming this summer, such as Goy Meets World, All in the Mishpacha, and Briss and Morty. Find Circumvision on your list of channels, or download the app and set it on Auto Shabbos to also enjoy on the Sabbath. Circumvision, L'chaim.
I wanna rock.
Well, we have a mitzvah of different songs for today. Now we're going to continue on with this, but we added I guess a little bit of an allowance on when we pick our rock, pop, or rap genres. We made it okay to select subgenres. So I guess it's really going to be just Steph doing that, if you ask me. But
wow.
For this week, I had the rock genre, and I guess you can say that this is somewhat of a subgenre. I mean, this is an indie group. I really enjoy their music.
That is most definitely a subgenre. Giving me shit for all of it.
I picked Wet Leg only because I know, Steph, you've been really into him in the last couple of weeks. I've played Wet Leg on this podcast before. I don't remember if it was this song in particular, but I really like it. It's actually charting this week in the rock, I guess, just the general rock music charts. So this is Wet Dream by Wet Leg. You know, I got to say, since we're talking about the Super Bowl coming up, one of my favorite Super Bowl halftime shows was with James Brown. I forget how long ago that was. It was quite a bit ago. I don't know if you remember that one there, Josh. But when James Brown played it was freaking amazing. He was already, it must have been like the late 90s or something, and I forget who was playing. But do you have a favorite halftime show of memory?
Besides the Janet Jackson one, which it was my favorite for different reasons. You know what? I think I don't really do. Oh well, besides Prince.
Okay,
Prince was by far my favorite, especially
by the way,
when he played Purple Rain, dude.
In the rain.
In the rain.
Yeah.
That was just that you can't write that shit, dude.
Oh, you know why I also enjoyed that James Brown one? It was in 1997. Is because he also had the Blues Brothers play with him.
Oh,
James Brown,
okay. I do
ZZ
recall that
Top.
one now.
Yeah. It was the Oscar Mayer halftime show back in 1997. It was amazing. You had fucking you had the Blues Brothers there, man.
Yeah.
And then James Brown
man.
comes out. It was fucking great. I remember being a kid watching that.
James Brown is just a timeless classic, dude. You can, if you don't like James Brown, you can get out.
Indeed. Well, man, that's gonna do it for the music highlights and the episode, man. Let's see here. What else we got going on here, Josh, that we can tease for next time?
End. My only friend.
For fuck's sake.
The end. Wait.
No, next week you're off. And likely then the following week as well. I think we had established.
Well, I possibly can make an appearance next week. Definitely the following week I will not be here, as it is my twin sister's birthdays.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, everybody stick around, and thanks for joining us this week. And if you're going to be joining us next week, we may or may not have Josh. That is up in the air right now.
You never know, fool. Yeah. I'm an enigma.
Any movies coming out? I think next week we'll talk about Ozark because Steph and I have been watching quite a bit of Ozark. We'll geek out on that. We'll have a joint report in place of a sports segment, and we'll keep doing this music thing. But also, I wanted to talk about this upcoming. I think you may have brought it up in a bulletin in previous episodes, but for Godzilla. I think we're going to start to ramp up and maybe watching those episodes and just, I don't know, man. Podzilla needs to come back, I think.
It does, Foo. In fact, we should schedule some time with the Foo.
Some foliage?
We'll talk to his secretary and see when he's available next.
His Asian?
So his agent, Foo.
Oh, agent?
Agent.
Oh, I said Asian.
Yeah. Don't forget about that hard T, Foo. That hard T. You gotta have that hard T.
I like hard T.
Yes, you do, Foo. Hard T's are fantastic.
See.
Yeah, Foo. We definitely need to catch up on Podzilla. So, well, TBD. But we'll catch up on also Mandalorian next week, or Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett. We'll finally have another episode to talk about the last three, and I think we only have one more episode after that, so we'll have a finale episode the week after.
Tight. All right, man. Well, until next time, everybody, stop being dicks, be good to each other, and so on and so forth. Thank you all very much for listening to the Foo Bar Show. Remember to hit subscribe and be sure to rate, review, and tell a friend like a freaking champion. You can also listen in and get our swag at FooBarShow.com. That's FOOBarshow.com, and follow FOO Bar Show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Join in, drop us a line, and we'll foo it up like a couple of foos. I've been Josie.
I've been Josh.
And Steph.
Signing off saying...